So today I just wanted to take a quick look at the 2004 film, The Passion of Christ, which honestly it's very basically a religion-flavored torture porn. That's pretty much what the film at some point in time comes down to, is just literally watching someone get the holy blood beaten out of them. Literally. But I love the opening sequence of the film, and I forget if there's like some actual wording or terminology, but it's basically in those last hours in the life of Christ, in which he is obviously begging or pleading with the Almighty to give him an alternate way out of this, because who the hell wants to die like that? Seriously. You know, it's a very human thing, and obviously he was a living person. So I like that depiction that we are allowed to view him as a man of flesh and blood, which he obviously was. You know, unfortunately, a lot of people want to view him as this godly and otherworldly thing, and he was perfect and he never did any wrong. And that's just bullshit. Come on, guys. I mean, he was a real person. He deserves to be seen, viewed, and depicted as one. And I think the fact that that scene was left in very much gives us that sense of realism, and it lets us see him as a real person. I also love all of the flashbacks in the film, especially that very early one where he's building the table. And obviously we see his interaction with Mary, where he's washing his face, he's cleaning up to come in for dinner because he has been outside working, and he splashes water on her. You know, we have this playful banter between mother and son. It's a very lovely moment. It's a very touching scene, and against what is happening to him, it can be very heartbreaking just seeing the two in conjunction, basically. But obviously that was done for effect. He went through all of this for a reason, as we are told to believe as Christians. And we neglect the fact as people, or maybe we are just so self-absorbed in ourselves that we forget that he was a living person. He was a living being. He had joys, hopes, loves, dreams, aspirations. He had a family. He had a life of his own, and that was ripped away. And why? Just so that we can be absolved of the original sin. Especially seeing the way that society lives today, it very much feels like a slap in the face that he did all of that for nothing. And that's just my opinion. I'm entitled to it. Disagree with me if you will. I'm not here to convince you. I'm not here to tell you that you have to agree with me. Think whatever you want. We're individuals. You're entitled to think and feel what you want to feel. These are solely my opinions. But I definitely have very strong opinions, just viewing society and whatnot, what we've become as a people, maybe what we always were from the beginning. You have that original cleansing with Noah's Ark and all these other attempts. And how many times has humanity redeemed themselves as a whole? As a whole, I say, because you do have those exceptional individuals that definitely do leave people in awe and wonderment, and they can be very inspirational. You have Mother Teresa and all these other people that did amazing things, but the good doesn't always offset the bad. That's just my opinion. But we see him as he goes through this gauntlet, basically. We obviously, if you were raised Catholic, Christian, whatever, you know the story. You know those final hours. But we do see, in my opinion, at least in the belief system that I was raised in, we view an accurate depiction of those events, of how he will come to be betrayed, how he will be denied, blah, blah, blah. And, all of that does come to pass. But I love to me, the real heart and soul of the film is the flashbacks where we actually see him as a person. You know, we're allowed to get a glimpse of more of who he was, you know, what he did. And I think that's what the major message here is, that, you know, all of what he went through was meant to not have been for nothing. And what do we do in our daily lives to honor that? How often do we do anything to honor that? You know, I'm obviously not Christian. I was raised Christian. But it's hard not to take what you were raised with and incorporate that into whatever new belief systems that you flow into as an adult or in your own personal life. And yeah, I mean, I do feel that, you know, assuming that Jesus and the Almighty, if they are real, if they actually do exist, then we should do things that honor them and what they did for us. Or whatever your higher purpose is, you should always honor whatever it is that you view as your higher purpose. You know, honor yourself as an individual as well. You know, live a life that you can be proud of, you know. But, you know, as I've said, the beatings in the film are excessive. And I think that was done to make a point. You know, as I said previously, it's when it comes down to it, when you strip it of all of its religious elements, it is torture porn that you're watching. But do you incorporate some thought into it? Do you make an effort to learn from it? Do you make an effort to grow from it? Are you learning and growing as an individual? And that has always been my constant message on this channel. You know, we take from media and we take from films what we need. We incorporate that into our belief systems as we will. You know, no one's telling us what to think. No one's telling us what to believe. We as individuals decide for ourselves. But, you know, obviously there was a greater message behind this, you know, omitting the discrepancies that the director later went through. You know, let's just toss that out and ignore that. We're strictly talking about the film here. But as I said, it has that very familiar flow, especially, as I said, if you were raised Christian or any other, you know, God or Jesus believing religion, you know the story. You don't need me to tell it to you. We all know the story. And as I said, the heart and soul of this is really in the flashbacks, and it's hard not to view it as heartbreaking because, you know, this was a very real person who had their life ripped away from them. Because why? Because someone in power assumed he was trying to take theirs, because he was misunderstood, because he was judged. You know, it's all just very, it's all very stupid when you think about it, you know. But I think material like this, you know, even in this day and age, even if you are not religious, if you're able to learn from it, gain from it, take some type of knowledge, then it was all very necessary. And, you know, as I say, as long as you're able to take something from it and grow as an individual, then the film served its purpose. But that's pretty much the only thoughts I have on this. I'm not going to go down that religious route, especially because, you know, I understand that my viewers have various belief systems. I'm not trying to force or push anything on anyone, and I cannot stress that enough. You're entitled to your own opinions, your own beliefs, okay? I'm not forcing anything on anyone. But in light of the holiday, I did want to talk about that just very briefly. But that is pretty much all I have for you guys today, and I will talk to you later.